All right. Calling the meeting to order. Attendance, please.
Supervisor Holdridge.
Here.
Councilmember Ardisana.
Here.
Councilmember Becker.
Here.
Councilmember Courtney.
Here.
Councilmember Dysinger is absent.
All right. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. The public hearing for introductory law number 8, our building moratorium, is still open. Is there any public comment at this time on this? Let me give it 30 seconds. If there's anything online, Michelle, please let me know. Well, in lieu of waiting for somebody to come up with something, we are going to be keeping the public hearing open just one more meeting, it looks like, while we internally review some revisions, which will obviously be posted publicly once we have those kind of down pat. That's basically it, right?
I did provide revisions to the board for internal review. It is our anticipated, we anticipate providing those publicly before the 28th meeting, the February 28th meeting. We will set a schedule the last public hearing date at that time so people have a chance to review the revisions and then make comment on the revisions. I have copied Mr. Sirota and Mr. Donovan on behalf of the planning board, as well as your other consultants to review and provide comments internally. Once we have those, we'll introduce on the 28th.
Very good. Is there any comments at this time from the public, online or here, about the public hearing? Anything from the board? No?
No.
All right. With that being said, will someone motion to take us out of the public hearing? Or do we have to motion to keep it
You
open?
Keep it open.
You didn't even go into it, so
Okay.
It's
let's
already
go
open.
straight to the minutes.
All right. So let's go on to the minutes then. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from January 24th and February 1st?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Is there any? Yeah, that's how you do that. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Holdridge.
Here.
Councilmember Ardisana.
Here.
Councilmember Becker.
Aye. I meant to vote aye.
Aye.
Here.
We're all following.
Yep, we're all following me.
Councilmember Courtney.
Aye.
All right, vote passes. Town reports. Happy Valentine's Day. Sorry to drag all of you guys here. I already celebrated on Monday, so I'm a little ahead of the game. Naps View debt payments. So I'm going to have an email out from our comptroller, Neil Meyer. Just going to read this off as the report on this. Yesterday, and this was back in January 31st. Yesterday, the accounting department scheduled the first interest payment on Naps View bond. The bond interest payment was $2,625. The interest is paid 2 times a year on February 1st and August 1st, with the $100,000 principal payment due on August 1st. The current town budget only has appropriated $1,000 for interest for this loan and $75,000 in principal payments. This means the town will be short in its appropriations for the Naps View loan by $29,250. At the time, he was asking for approval from the board to be able to over encumber the line, which is, you guys don't that's not necessary. Which represents the interest on the Naps View debt until such time as I can review all the debt against the budget and determine the appropriate corrective action. Although it does appear we will need to appropriate additional fund balance to cover shorts within this year's budget. So I was able to get everybody to give approval, and the money was allocated, properly. So this is going to be, it appears to be a recurring situation with different issues with this year's budget that was made last year. So we're going to continue to keep the public updated on what is specifically happening with those payments and what kind of monies are being moved around. that's basically it. Neil, did I miss any of the points there? Yep, good. Okay. Is there any?
Supervisor.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just for clarification, the payment amount, I think, was $100,000?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, the principal payment
Yes.
for which is due on August 1st.
Mhm.
And then the current town budget only has appropriated $1,000 for interest for this loan and $75K for principal. So we were short 29,250.
Thank you.
So that was budgeted incorrectly. That is that. The Scotts Meadow property update. So there's a lot of talk last year about, was it Scotts Meadow? Oh yeah. Yeah. So the Scotts Meadow, there's been a lot of talk throughout the last couple of years about what the county is going to do with the property which is referred to as Scotts Meadow, which is on Kings Highway. It is basically between Kings Highway and Sugarloaf Mountain. It kind of extends from the main road to Kings Highway through the marsh there up until the mountain, across the bypass. It's a very weird property. The county has owned it. They divided it somehow between the first two houses right there on Kings Highway, with the big red one, I believe, right? Yeah. The other one right there. They have a little municipal lot they allow the public to use, which is very kind. They split that part of it off from the larger section, which they are going to keep, but they were trying to get rid of the front section with the two buildings. The town had shown interest in the past about acquiring it. It was going to be $150,000 to acquire this property as is. That does not include all of the monies that it would be necessary to renovate it and restore it and make it into whatever you really wanted. I did some research on it. I spoke to some members of some of the organizations that we have in Sugarloaf, such as the Chamber of Commerce and the Community Foundation, and I spoke to the rest of the town board. And it is the opinion of most of us up here and in the organizations that I spoke to, that it wouldn't be a good use of your taxpayer dollars at this time to purchase that property. We don't believe. I mean, we definitely do have the $150K to acquire it, but we don't know how much it'll be. Hundreds of thousands of dollars, most likely, to restore it or change it in the ways that we would want to do. Whatever it be, more parking or bathrooms or whatever the ideas were in the past. So we told the county that you can put it back up for sale. You don't need to hold it for us. And, any member of the public can, I think it's the highest bidder, would be able to purchase it. So that is what the town board had decided was the best course of action for this property. I just wanted to inform the public so they know that it should be out to bid, or it should be up for sale. Is there any questions on that? Any comment on that, or what I previously talked about, the Knapp's View debt payments? Is there any comments or questions about that? Sure.
There's interest from.
Do you want to come up?
No,
Okay, it's Jeff Zahn, who is the president.
Community Foundation.
Yes.
There's an interest, and Nick can speak more articulately, is parking. Because of the hamlet and we're taking over the road and we have plans for painting and making this road more conducive, parking is really important for us. So is there any way we can discuss working with the county to improve that parking lot in the back?
Yes.
We need parking desperately, to talk to Prezzies and maybe Townhouse and work together with the county that we can utilize it, with the caveat that if someone rents a building or needs that, we'll give it back with signs and all. But it's really quite important for us to explore parking options.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's now.
Yeah, absolutely. I know there's a section of the parking lot there that would continue to be a part of the county. I'm not sure if it's the full section or just a portion of it. So I'm definitely willing to talk to the county about that, just get some clarity on that and see if there can be any improvements made to it. Absolutely. Okay. Got it. And Michelle, any other comments?
Nothing.
At this time? Okay, great. Moving on. EMS special meeting. So I am calling a special meeting on February 29th, which is a day after our regular meeting on the 28th, solely dedicated to the issue of our EMS services here, emergency services, ambulance services. I believe that it is time to explore different options in what we have as a service for EMS. Right now, we have Empress, who is who took over Mobile Life previously. We still have a handshake deal with them for their services here, which I don't believe is the best course of action at this time. We obviously are going to continue our services with them until if a better option presents itself. But at this meeting, I'd like to go over the specifics of that. I know Assemblyman Brian Mayer is going to be coming in to speak about it because he also agrees with me, and he has information coming from the New York State legislator, which, in the next couple years, in the next at least, anywhere between 3 to 10 years, eventually it's going to be made a mandatory service, and it's going to be unfunded, most likely by the state, meaning that the state is going to mandate that every town have some sort of dedicated EMS service, some sort of contract that they are not going to foot the bill for. We are going to have to foot the bill. Right now, we have a basically free service because they bill their patients. They bill everybody that they serve in our community. Whereas a lot of the other towns and municipalities have contracts with, dedicated services or volunteer services, or surrounding municipality services, what have you. Getting a real contract that we have to foot the bill for with Empress or with other municipal services is something that we're going to have to explore, so we have better services. Because at the end of the day, I looked over the numbers for the response times, which I will go over at this meeting, and it's not to the quality that I would like to see it at. And I think members of the public have a right to know how their services are performing, and would like to see a better service at the end of the day, because this is, in my opinion, one of the most important things that we could do is ensure the health and safety of all the residents in Chester. So I'm going to be calling a special meeting on the 29th about that, where we will go over it in more detail. That's going to be at 7 p.m. Thank you, Michelle.
Is it a meeting or a work session?
It is a meeting. And it'll be only for that sole purpose. So it'll be that, and then everybody can go home. All right, Palmer property purchase. So there's a lot of talk over the last year or so about the small portion of the Palmer property, which is off of LaRue Road. If you're going towards Chester, it's on the right, the field over there, and the two ponds. If you're going away, it's on the left. The former supervisor had made some sort of deal with the Orange County Land Trust about that. We were going to purchase it for $300,000, right? Yes. I think I have it here.
Yep.
Yes, right here. And we spoke about it with them. We spoke about it amongst ourselves. We spoke about it with the county, who, if you had seen on social media and in the news, had just purchased or was granted. I don't know how that kind of worked out. They acquired the land, the majority of the land, the mountain. Orange County Land Trust saved the mountain. Now it has been transferred, or is being transferred, to the county in some sort of way. And I took a look at it, and we spoke to Steve Newhouse. I know Councilman Becker spoke to Steve Newhouse. The county was and is willing to take that land that we were interested in, which will in part preserve it like they're doing for the rest of the mountain, and then also save the taxpayers of Chester $300,000 to preserve it. So the county will be preserving it, and it costs us nothing to do that. I don't understand why that was ever going to be a thing. Personally, spending that much money to, I guess, have control over this very, small piece of land. And it had a dam on it, which could have incurred extra costs in the future for its maintenance, when the county is willing to take it off our hands and preserve it for generations to come. So we spoke about it amongst ourselves and with the county and with Orange County Land Trust, and everybody's on board. The county will be taking the land and preserving it, and the town board and the town of Chester will have to pay $0 for that. So I think that's a big win. Is there anything to add from the rest of the board on that, or any questions on? I mean, I know we all spoke about it already, but
I
anything
was under the impression that that property is going to the parks, the state parks,
no, it is going to be retained by the county.
the mountain.
Yes. As far as I know, that's the last thing I heard about that. I'm not privy to the inner workings of that. Is there anything else? Anything from the public on this or anything else? Yeah, Jeff?
Could you just clarify, is there any tangential relationship to going up the mountain, parking, does that have any relationship to the mountain now?
How do you mean?
Those acres that you're talking about.
Right.
It's not related to the mountain.
No,
No.
absolutely
Across the
separate.
street.
It was
It's
separate.
across the street. It's closer to Goose Pond Mountain. So, maybe the county will explore working with them to incorporate that into that. I'm not really sure. I know they were talking about some sort of trail over there that kind of goes through it. It's up to the county now. All I know is it's going to be preserved and it's going to be used for some sort of parks and everything. And they're planning, or they're talking about doing exactly what the former supervisor was talking about, which is adding in some sort of small little parking to allow for a trailhead to either way. So we're getting that done without having to spend your money. And I think that's a big win for everybody. Is there anything else from the online or anybody else here? No. All right, moving on then. Sure. Yeah, Tom, you want to take this Sugarloaf Water District well update?
Yeah, so I forwarded everybody 3 prices. I know we had done a resolution, but I actually got 2 more prices on having the backup well re-drilled out. We have a cost from Rourke Well Drilling of $4,000. He gave us that's work being done within 8 hours for the $4,000. And he put a little stipulation in that if it took more than the 8 hours, he would charge additional fees for that per hour. So that's, he is the lowest cost. Turnbull Well Drilling was $4,941.84. And we had Claverack Well and Pump at $11,852.50. So I think Rourke is the lowest bidder on this, and Turnbull actually predicted doing the job in 6 hours.
Wow.
So I feel pretty confident that with Rourke's number of giving us for 8 hours, that he should be able to get it done within that time frame.
And that was that the current one that we already did a resolution on?
Yes.
So the
we
other two,
we have to rescind, I think, that resolution and
redo it?
and redo this resolution, because originally we gave the job to Turnbull, but I got 2 other prices, and it changes the landscape of how we're doing this.
All right. Do you want to motion?
Yep. So I'll make a motion to withdraw the previous resolution for Turnbull Well Drilling to do the job, and move that we hire Rourke Well Drilling at $4,000 to get the job done.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there can we have a roll call vote, please?
Supervisor Holdridge,
Aye.
Councilmember Aldisana,
Aye.
Councilmember Becker,
Aye.
Councilmember Courtney.
Aye.
All right. The vote passes. Thank you, Tom. What was for the what was the difference between Rourke and the one that we did before, Turnbull?
$9,041.84.
That's the difference?
That's the difference between the two. Yeah, one's 4,000 and one's 4,900.
941.
Yeah, $941 is the difference.
Josh,
between the two.
9,000, yeah.
No, excuse me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excuse
It's
me.
about $1,000 saving.
Yeah.
That's great, Tom. Thank you.
You
I
got it.
have a question.
Sure.
Lydia Quadros, what will redrilling do for the E. coli contaminated well?
Shouldn't change anything. As far as we know, it's not going to change anything. It's just opening the well to confirm we can still get the water from the well. And we'll be doing all of our part testing before we could put that well back online as a backup well.
All right.
You-
Anything else? Or did you want to add more to that?
No, I got more of a report, but if you want to go on with what you have there.
Yeah, let me just
you-
finish
You
this
did
real
miss
quick.
the building department update, if you had something with that at the beginning.
Oh, I do. Yes. Thank you. That's good to know. I'll circle back to that. The Chester fireworks, 4th of July fireworks. Let's see here, save the dates. Is going to be on Saturday, July 13th, with a rain date of Sunday, July 14th. And that is going to be the normal thing. Kristen Palmer is working very hard, along with other members of the town, to make it the best fireworks show in Orange County, like it's always been. So yeah, just make sure you save the date, July 13th, with a rain date of July 14th.
And Suburban Propane is donating to that.
Yes, and we want to, as usual,
Thank them for that.
yeah, thank them for that. I don't see that here, but I don't believe that deal has changed at all. So I will give them a preliminary thank you, subject to change if anything with that changes. So thank you, Kristen, for your hard work, and anybody else that is working on that. I know everybody pitches in some way. And then I have mortgage tax on here. I can't remember why I have that on there.
Have a report.
Do I have a report?
Well, I have a report.
There you go. Thank you very much. So for Chester, taxes collected, $37,212.86. Amount due to the tax district is the same amount. That is the mortgage tax report. Very good. I failed to mention the salary for the building inspector in the past. Out of just transparency, I've basically mentioned everybody else's. He wasn't obviously included because he wasn't here during the reorg meeting. So I just wanted the public to know that the new salary for the building inspector, and it is a salary, it's not hourly anymore. So there will be no, thankfully, overtime that your tax dollars will be used for with this job. And he has been doing a great job so far. He's starting out at $75,000 after his probationary period. That will be bumped up, and then a further bump after that. It was 11 months or 10 or 11 months to get him up to where some of the other towns in the county are paying their full-time building inspector. With those even with those bumps accounted for, we will still be saving the taxpayers tens of thousands of dollars because of the previous building inspector was being paid overtime, and it was quite a bit. And that will obviously be broken down in further reports, just for your knowledge, for the sake of transparency.
And he will be working 5 days a week.
Yes, and he is working 5 days a week, which is a big plus. So thank you, John Hand. You have been doing an amazing job, and we're happy to have you. And speaking of which, the building department update.
Have a comment, please?
Sure.
Lydia Quadros. So the well will still be contaminated. Can't you drill a new well that is not contaminated and needs gallons per minute? Town just drilled a new well, spent thousands of dollars, and you're not going to use the newly drilled well, but you will reopen on an E. coli contaminated well. This does not make sense.
Okay, so we had discussed this previously in multiple meetings, and we also met with you, Lydia, about this. We are going to reopen this well so we can learn if we can use it in case of emergencies only, in case of the main well, something goes wrong with that. Because we had periods in Sugarloaf for 4 to 5 months, I believe, where there was no outside water usage, and that was not a good thing. And if the main well had failed, we might have not had a backup at that point. So we are trying to get this one filled up. We're trying to get this one open so we can see if we can use it in case of emergencies only, and it will still be treated so the E. coli shouldn't cause a problem even if we do have to use it. while we are waiting at the same time for the other backup well to get the proper approvals from the DEC. So even when I was told as supervisor that we are going to need to reopen this E. coli well to see if we can use it, I shuddered at the thought myself. I did not want to do it. But when everything was explained to me, and I'm a layman when it comes to water, we have somebody up here whose middle name is Water, explain it to me. It makes the most sense right now. We are not dealt the greatest of cards. We are playing with the cards that we are dealt, and we have to do this in case of emergencies. So even if we open it, we are trying to reopen it. Once we do that, we still may not be able to use it based off of what kind of work was done to it previously. So we might reopen it and figure out that it might not even be usable. So we will keep the public updated on that every step of the way. And again, it will be treated enough to be able to be used in case of emergencies. Is there any?
Just a final up on that. The well meets all of the Orange County and New York State Part 5 requirements for use. It is a permitted well. So everything is in place that needs to be in place to operate that well. We have redundancy in chlorination system. We have alarm systems involved in the plant, dialing directly to our water operator. So in case of emergency, they will be notified quickly. So there's very, very small, minute chance that anything could ever leave that plant. And if it does, people would be notified immediately if there was an issue with that water.
All right. So moving on to the building department.
Update.
Yeah. All right. So it's a very short update, but still substantive. Notice of expired building permits are being sent out by regular mail. Renewals are being issued from applicants who have responded to the letter. Order remedy violations are being sent out regular mail and certified mail to applicants with 30 to 35 days to remedy violation. Expired permits between the dates of January 1st, 2020 and December 31st, 2023, so that is almost exactly 3 years. Expired permits, there are 415. There were 415 expired permits. Certificates issued that are completed between January 1st, 2021 and December 31st, 2023, 1,003. The municipal searches, complaints, and violations to be submitted for March town board meetings. So that's a little taste of what has been kind of, for lack of a better term, fallen through the cracks or ignored or just not having the amount of staff able to keep up with everything. I think January 1st, 2020 represents the date that we first started having all this kind of stuff digitized, in a computer system. I'm not sure if things were kept before that. I'm not really sure.
I don't know if they're digitized.
Michelle?
It was all pen and paper.
It was all pen and paper before January 1st, 2020. So this is just with, that sort of record keeping. Yes. I thought it would be. I'm sorry. I'll forward that to the rest of the board as well. This came in very late today, so I apologize. And Tom. All right. Moving, is there any questions on that or anything else so far? No? Okay. Moving on then. I think that covers it for my reports. Is there anything else from the rest of the town board? Do you want to start with Tom?
Yep. I actually, I've recently met with Gary Green from the Village of Chester Water Commissioner to locate wells by the Chester Academy. Since then, I've gathered information from Tom Cusack, the school, the clerk's office, and the building department. After reviewing this information, it appears that the third well on the property is not accessible due to a transfer of ownership of some of the property to the school. I think we should probably reach out to the school to try to get an easement for access to, to that well, and to confirm that we have the 200-foot ownership around that well. The plans I looked at kind of show that the property line goes right past the well. I did see some markers by it also. So I will be working with our engineer too to determine whether we should do this or not, by the location of the well, and we don't really have any testing results or anything else on it. So we just have to do some more preliminary before we get into that. Because it could cost us money at this point to create that easement and make that protection zone around the well. I also attended a Mudna Basin meeting last night with Councilman Courtney. We had discussions on issues facing our sewer districts, our Surrey Meadows sewer upgrade, at our Surrey Meadows water sewer district, major upgrades to the pump station and sewer mains will be needed. The pump station alone could cost in upwards of $300,000 for replacement pumps, a new control panel, and the installation of a bypass for emergencies. So that's something we have to look forward to in the future. Some of our other districts should also have bypasses put in place for emergency purposes. Also, not long ago, the Lake Hill Farms pump station required emergency upgrades costing around $150,000 to make those repairs, and a planned repair most likely would have cost less. So we really need to move forward with, take action and hopefully get something done here. And let's try to move forward and tackle some of these issues before they become an emergency. Another item that was discussed is the sewer flow that originates from the Surrey Meadows and the Sugarloaf sewer districts that travels through the village of Chester pump stations. Currently, the village is covering all of the cost for electric and maintenance at these pump stations. They are currently working on a cost analysis so that they can have the town cover some of these costs associated with the flows through the village. This is another item that we got to be concerned with because it's not budgeted for at this point. So they basically have been paying for all the flows from the town to go through their system. So they're looking not so much to be recouped from it, but they want to be paid in the future for that, and possibly some maintenance, because a sewer pump station 3, which is in the village that handles everything from Surrey, they just had to do major upgrades to that, and they footed the bill for the entire thing. But a lot of flows from Surrey comes through that pump station.
Tom, just a question. What pump station would be affected? Would the Greens affect?
The Greens of Chester.
Because that's going to be something we're going to have to look down the road of.
Yeah,
that's
that'll
gonna
be
part of-
in the
that's going through
future.
village. That's going to go through the village.
It's going to go through the village again too. That might be, there's a pump station right on 17M. There's one in front of Whispering Hills. It may hit that one, depending on how that sewer line runs. That'll be Mudna Basin determining that. So I know the one from Sugarloaf flows all the way by gravity to the pump station on the top of Great Court.
Okay.
And then it's pumped to the secondary pump station along Great Court Road. And then from there, so it's pumped twice. And then it goes to sewer pump station 3A, which is the main plant that pumps everything to Monroe. The Surrey Meadows pump station pumps over the hill on Garden Street, hits the pump station at the bottom of Garden Street. From there, it pumps over to the top of Great Court again, hits the secondary pump station on Great Court, and then over to the master, the main pump. So it's pumped multiple times. So they're looking at a whole,
Yeah, that's going to be.
I'm not sure what the electric costs are going to be there, but these are big pumps. And basically the village has been footing the bill for the town for a long time, since back in the 80s.
All right. Anything else, Tom?
Oh, that's it. Thank you.
All right, Bob?
Yeah, I wanted to just get into some numbers just with the theater. As of right now, and I want to get with Neil when he gets his head above water. Just to go through these numbers. Right now, as of the fiscal 2023, we're 19,000 to the good. And that's all the costs.
In the black?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's without, I'm still waiting on an insurance number. I thought I sent the email, but I can't find it, so I did resend it. That's probably gonna be another 6,000-7,000 off of that. So I'm thinking around 11-12 grand to the good we're gonna be when it's done. Again, we have an overtime opportunity over there as well. Last year, we spent 339, almost 340 hours in overtime.
How much was that?
339 hours.
339 hours in overtime at the PAC.
Yeah, it comes to it, and I don't want to get into the number. The number's a big number. I don't know, but I don't want to put the dollar amount to it, but it's because that's somebody's salary, but it's a big number. So that's got to be addressed. And then the other question I have for Neil, I know when I first started digging into this, we were talking about turning this over to an enterprise fund. So if we're going to make the building self-sufficient, Supervisor, if we're able to do that, if we're going to do that, any things that at the end of the day, if I understand how this works, right now, any profit goes into the general fund, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we have the enterprise fund, can we set it up so we can put that money into the enterprise fund? Because we're not. I don't see anything in the budget to where we're budgeting for any maintenance. You got some big ticket items over there that can go. I mean, a sound system. I know the city of Middletown got a grant a few years ago, $250,000 for a sound system. So, I think we need to really, when we get to that point, if we set that up, if we're able to do that, whatever profits we make, that we've got to start being proactive with this instead of reactive.
Well, we should be able to earmark money through the budget when we redo the budget this year. We should be able to earmark money for that.
Well, if this building, we truly want this building to be self-sufficient, I think if we can take that money and just put it in there as so this way it's paying for itself, because that's what we said.
Yeah.
That was the intent when we bought it.
Yeah, but that's how you probably can do it.
The other piece that I'm going to get with Walter, and honestly, I want to pick everyone's brain here at another time. But we're missing an opportunity with renting this thing out for conferences. We have the live stream capability, and we're manning the building during the day, and it just sits empty. And it just, to me, we've got to come up with a very aggressive plan to be able to try to capture some of these other, Garnett Hospital. There's no reason why they couldn't do something out of there, or multiple of other these big businesses. I remember, when I was a director for ShopRite back years ago, we went there for we did conferences there. So, and it's just another an avenue for revenue. I mean, I think we really have to. And I'm going to talk with Walter when he comes back, and I want to pick some of everyone else's brains up here on it. But I think we have to try to really get this thing to where it's self-sustainable. And then I know we talked, but there was a slew of other things we talked about in the workshop. So. And that's all I really have, Brandon.
Thank you, Bob. That's a lot of information for us to pick our brains about. We definitely could be doing better there. I think we're working towards that, which I'm happy about. Tony?
No,
Nothing. Okay. Just some other reports from the department heads. From our water department. The water department processed and distributed 6,685,232 gallons of water for the month of January. The district's daily average ranged from 133 to 79,000 gallons. The breakdown is Lake Hill Farms, 2,443,000. Walton Lake Estates, about 2 million. Sugarloaf, little over 1 million. Surrey Meadows, 1.5 million. Town Hall, 4,000. And Fieldcrest 177,000. Distribution sampling by us, as well as random sampling by Orange County DOH, showed adequate disinfection levels and tested negative for any type of bacteria. Monthly DOH, which is Department of Health, 360 forms and test results for the December 2023 on all districts were submitted to DOH on January 5th. Laboratory testing dates were January 3rd and January 17th. A replaced chlorine pump at Town Hall. A snowstorm on 1/8 and 1/16 plowed all the plants. Chemicals were delivered on 1/18. 129 had a meeting as a department with Tom Becker and Bob Courtney. Other business, Sugarloaf well, Sugarloaf was mostly quiet with routine operations and maintenance. 1/5 TAM came and replaced radio on top of water tower due to leak in box and frying the system. 124 fixed and cleaned the CL2 monitoring system so it reads properly. 126 highway brought in an item 4 to well site 1A for the drill rig to can get into redrill old well. Surrey Meadows was mostly quiet. Couple inspections. Possible leak was not found. No gas leak, but found a gas leak for O&R, which they reported to. 122, New York Rural Water came to listen at 19 Surrey and determined there was no leak. A couple other alarms here. Lakeville Farms was mostly quiet, normal operations, maintenance. 119 fixed lights at plant to help neighbor. 129 final fix with the light issue. Walton Lake Estates was mostly quiet. Dug and replaced a street valve with 2 new ones and a T and a T at Hickory and Maple with help of Highway Department, which yes, 1-8 well 4 went down. Code Electric came out to determine that the well pumps shorted out and would need to be replaced. A couple other replacements here: a water main break at Poplar and Maple on 120. 123, as per Orange County Health Department, replaced contaminant platform and added one to the caustic soda storage and crock. 125 ordered CL2 pH monitoring system. 130 previous water main started leaking at Poplar and Maple had to dig with the highway and tighten a bolt. Field press was quiet with routine operations. Thank you to our water department for taking care of our water.
Can you forward it to me?
Oh, yes. Sorry, I should forward these things immediately. All
They
right.
should be sending it to me.
Yes. What else here? From the police department for the month of January. They made 26 arrests during the month. A summary of the arrests is as follows. It's necessary. 28 medical calls, 12 residential, commercial, and automatic fires, 11 disturbances, disputes, and domestic complaints, 8 reports of suspicious persons, 2 motor vehicle crashes, 18 motor vehicle crashes, 2 with injuries, 18 without injuries, 2 involving deer. There were no charges to sex offender registrations for our residents in January. During the month, the town of Chester police officers assisted members of the community in many ways. Officers completed no house security checks and 1,119 business security checks. Sergeant Dugan and officers Bird, Weinstein, Stack, and Narain continue to remain available for child passenger safety seat checks and installations. Officer Stack met with the senior citizen group on January 10th and discussed programs available to them and reviewed some ongoing scams involving gift cards and social media. Officers were assigned to sporting events at Chester Academy on January 30th and 31st. We continue to assign school resource officers to the Chester Academy and Chester Elementary School during the school day. Officers Perez, DeLuca, and Donato are fulfilling this assignment. Various trainings are happening. Miscellaneous. Chief Dollinger attended the Village of Goshen board meeting on January 8th, where retiring Chief Watt was recognized for 40 years of service to the village, with the last 24 spent as Chief of Police. Village of Goshen Sergeant Ryan Rich, a former Town of Chester police officer, was also sworn in as the new Chief of Police. Commercial vehicle enforcement details were held on January 3rd, 17th, and 22nd with the New York State Department of Transportation. 11 vehicles were inspected and 6 unsafe vehicles were taken out of service with major violations. There were 158 hours of overtime paid in January. Part-time police officers were used for 208.75 hours of patrol coverage, 208 regular hours, and 0.75 overtime hours. It's a list of arrests here. And that is that. It's a different. Did you get this too? Yes, you did.
Mhm.
And then the animal control, the favorite. They're responded to 5 animal complaints and investigated 2 motor vehicle crashes involving deer. Breakdown of complaints for the month as follows. 3 of the calls for service were injured or deceased deer. That's unfortunate. One call was for a loose dog, and 1 call was for a barking dog. It's probably the shortest animal report ever. The monthly report for January from the Warwick Valley Humane Society is attached. Just a bunch of calls for different types of dog stuff here. 7 delinquent license notices to comply prepared and delivered to various addresses per the delinquent dog report from the town clerk. Completed specific enumeration of 3 addresses requested by town clerk. There was a call for a hospitalized pet owner that 3 dogs were in her residence in Whispering Hills since December 30th. So that was a day without care. Animal control responded, assisted the village police and removed the 3 dogs, returned to the owner 4 days later. Well, thank you to the village police and the Warwick Humane Society. It's very nice. All right. Anything else here? One last update from the Recreation Department. 2 trips scheduled February 26th for this. Just a quick update for Senior Center and Summer Camp. 2 trips scheduled February 26th to the Wind Creek Casino, June 10th and 14th, June 10th through 14th to Montreal and Quebec. Working on one for early April, a day trip. Organized with the assessor to visit Golden Age Club on February 21st to go over senior exemptions that were passed last year by the town board. Last filing day is March 1st. Set up a summer camp in the computer for online registration, which will go live February 17th. The summer camp registration will be going live February 17th. Emailed camp counselor applications to approximately 8 interested counselors. So that's looking promising. Flyer regarding camp going to superintendent of Chester School District by Thursday morning for final approval. Flyer targeted to go home with students entering grades 1 through 6 on Friday. Registration will be blasted on all social media sites. Just a reminder for people to create an account at chesterrecreation.com or verify account username and password. Village of Chester PD will held a class at the Senior Center Monday, February 11th. Held a class at Senior Center Monday, 2/11 through 2/14 for police officers throughout New York State and had an attendance of over 30 officers. They are very thankful for municipal use of the building and are looking to hold other classes in May. The instructor said the welcome and assistance provided by the town of Chester is unlike any other place he goes. Thank you, Michelle, and everybody else who was able to make all of these things happen. And Michelle is, of course, continuing to provide support and assistance to the building department while she's doing all of these other amazing things. So big thanks to Michelle. And that is that for the reports. As one more thing, we did receive a $12,000.
Yeah, we'll take with 12
Oh
million.
gosh.
Everybody's got.
See, I remember it being 12,000, but I have written 12 million. I'm gonna have to give you guys an actual number. But we received a grant funding from the New York State for Creamy Pond. It was 12,000. Okay, sorry to everybody about the million. That would have been much better. 12K instead of M. Grant funding from New York State for Creamy Pond cleanup, the bacteria and all that in there. So we are working to access that funding so we can possibly help get the pond cleaned up here. So that's very good. Thank you to the governor for including that into the budget items there. Very good. All right. Finally, moving on to public comment. I see here we have, is there any comments about any of those things that I said?
Could I quickly just, for the sake of point of order, point of interest, Bob, you mentioned conferences. I'm very friendly with the Orange County Arts Council member. And so one of the women from tourism very quickly knows the facility well. She says, no, there's problems with it. There's a lack of enough kitchen facilities there. It's very weak with that. There's a lack of breakout rooms that has to be fixed. And if you're doing New York State, there's a lack of hotels in the area. Locally is fine. You'd be better served looking at weddings and corporate events, like you mentioned. It has some problems. And the last point is about your, it'd be very helpful for us to know the variable costs, not fixed, electricity, air conditioning in the summer. So when we set rates, what does it cost to open the doors, turn on the lights in the summer?
Yeah, I say, when we spoke a week or so ago, I got to get a little more granular with that. I'm going to have to get O&R involved. I mean, what's it going to cost when we turn on the lights? What's it going to cost? So it's going to be a little more cumbersome than just sitting down and just, crunching these numbers. But, yeah, I mean, I just think we have to, we're getting complacent with the building. And I just think we have to look at other avenues to,
And we will be doing a comprehensive review and most likely reforms on the fee schedule for that, like you presented to me a couple days ago. Michelle, is there anything online for anything?
I have nothing.
Nothing. Great. So I see here Elizabeth Barrett-Zahn and Bill Green are both talking about the same thing, the Conservation Advisory Council and the the Climate Smart Community. But do they want to wait for when we have the things on the agenda about that? Or what you're going to say, do you want to wait until so you can kind of give background to these resolutions that we have on the agenda, or do you want to say something first before that?
However you want me to do it.
Do you want to wait?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Sure.
So we're gonna, and same thing for Bill. You want to wait? Okay, great. So is there anything else for public comment at this time? All right, moving on. Summary of bills. Where is from Neil? Thank you, Linda. So the abstract for this this period, we had a return check that needs to be reprocessed. The total summary of bills is $477,690.91. The largest portion of that is coming from what I broke down in the previous meeting, the insurance costs at $358,209.92. The other portion of that is just our regular bills for the period of $119,030.99. Yes. Is there any comments or questions from the board or the public on those numbers?
No.
None whatsoever. All right. Do we need a motion to approve the abstract or?
No, he's presenting it.
Yeah,
Public
just present,
information,
yeah.
because we have a comptroller.
Very good. So that is that. Moving on. Thank you, Neil. Moving on, we have a resolution to hire Lorraine Hines. Hines? Yes. So sorry that you've been here for an hour waiting for this. A resolution to hire Lorraine Hines as a part-time clerk at $23.18 per hour, effective February 22nd. Do I have a motion to head in quickly into executive session to meet Lorraine for a couple minutes and talk to her before we take this resolution?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're gonna, no. All right, if you want to join us in the rec room over here for just a second.
Aye.
So we are out of executive session. There's a resolution on the floor here to hire Lorraine Hines as part-time clerk at $23.18 per hour, effective February 22nd. Is there any comments or questions at this time from the board?
Nope.
Is there a motion on the floor?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, a roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Holdridge,
Aye.
Councilmember Artisana,
Aye.
Councilmember Becker,
Aye.
Councilmember Courtney.
All those against? Abstentions? None. It passes.
Welcome,
Congratulations, Lorraine. Please don't feel obligated to stay for the rest of the meeting. Unfortunately, all these poor people have to stay, but you're allowed to go. All right, moving on. Resolution. Okay, so if we can have Elizabeth and Bill step up to the plate, please, so they can give us some background on this. There are 4 resolutions on the floor here. We're going to start with the formation of the Conservation Advisory Council. So just for some background, we right now have a Climate Change Advisory Committee. We would like to expand the scope of that committee to be able to tackle some other issues that would definitely fall under the guise of a Conservation Advisory Council, which is which is becoming more and more used throughout Orange County and other municipalities. So we would like to take our Climate Change Advisory Committee and mold that into a Conservation Advisory Council. So if you'd like to speak on that, or did I just kind of cover everything?
You just covered it beautifully, but
Okay.
I have a comment that Grayson, who is serving as our interim chairperson, so I'm going to read
Yes.
what he has here because he wrote it so beautifully and it really explains it all. So Grayson writes that tonight, in support of the vital resolutions before the board, the first resolution, the one that you're speaking about, seeks to formally change the name of the Chester Climate Change Advisory Committee, and in doing so, create a new Conservation Advisory Council. This is a significant and necessary step for 3 reasons. First, by creating the Conservation Advisory Council, Chester will join other leading towns in leveraging a powerful tool for conservation in local policymaking. A CAC, and of course, everything has acronyms, so the Conservation Advisory Council, a CAC, unlocks important responsibilities that the existing committees that our committee before would not be able to undertake. Notably pursuing things like we're going to have coming up soon, which is a climate smart community initiative. And there are other ones such as the Clean Energy Community Initiative as well. By formally changing the committee's name and evolving into this new form, our group now can raise its ambitions and deliver more environmental and economic benefits, as well as look for state monies that would be available to the town and to the people of Chester. Second, by changing the committee's name, the board recognizes the need for the body to address a wider set of pressing environmental challenges. While this board recognized before the need to identify ways that to reduce the town's climate impact and to protect our people from climate damage and capitalize on the booming green economies, there are other related environmental issues that a CAC can address. These issues include protecting green spaces, preserving the town's rural character, and responsibly managing our natural resources, especially what has been talked about a lot here today, our vital water. Finally, the board was elected with the promise to preserve our community's character while balancing economic development. The CAC is a step in that direction. Our job is to work with the board and with the community to to envision what our future would be for Chester that protects both the town from overdevelopment while not foregoing benefits from smart, environmentally responsible growth. So forming of the CAC is a vital step in realizing both of those steps for the town. So that's just what he spoke about for that first part. So I'll leave that. Bill, did you want to add anything for the CAC part, or do you want to wait for climate? Okay, perfect.
Great.
Okay.
Okay.
These don't necessarily need a roll call.
Gotcha. So there is a resolution to form the Conservation Advisory Council from the Climate Change Advisory Committee. It is as presented to the board, which has been emailed previously and was up for public consumption on the town website. I would like to motion to form a Conservation Advisory Council for the town of Chester out of the Climate Change Advisory Committee. Is there a second to my motion?
I'll second that one.
Is there any? Yeah. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Abstentions? It passes. Great. One down. All right. Next on the list is a resolution to recommend a joint Chester and Village Chester Conservation Advisory Council. So do you want, it's exactly how it sounds, but if you want to.
Yeah, just real briefly, it came up with one of our members who said that we need to look at this a little bit more holistically, look at the town, but also look at the village, and that it would really be recommended for us to do that in a collaborative way.
Mhm.
So we thought that rather than us just showing up at the village's door and saying, hey, this is what we want to do, we thought it would be better if it came through the town and we had that backing of the town to go ahead and to make a meeting with the village and to talk about this. And then get them involved in what we're doing and have their voice be heard as well. So that's really the reason for that resolution.
All right. So there is I'd like to motion to recommend a joint Town of Chester and Village of Chester Conservation Advisory Council and send this resolution to the mayor of the village, Chris Battiato, and the rest of the board of trustees over there. This is as presented. I emailed all this to you guys previously. Is there a second to my motion?
I'll second that.
Is there all those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Passes. Great. Moving on. There is a resolution on the floor to adopt a Town of Chester Climate Smart Communities Pledge. Do you want to go into that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So as one of the first initiatives for the CAC, for the Climate Advisory Council, we would like to join the Climate Smart Community Program. New York State has over 400 climate smart communities that are already in action. This is affecting close to 10 million people. The program does not cost money, but it does require documentation of actions that are taken to decrease energy use, implement climate smart land use. That's just a few examples. And then, of course, near and dear to my heart, to inspire and inform the public about climate-related issues. So Grayson has a little bit to talk to that, so I'm just going to read his piece. Grayson writes that this resolution represents the first step in Chester's journey to reducing our environmental impact, creating green growth, and unlocking the state's resources to facilitate further sustainable development. The Climate Smart Communities Program provides local governments with a structured pathway toward meeting these goals. The program provides guidance and support for local conservation advisory councils to design and implement projects tailored to their local communities. Peer communities, including Warwick, have successfully achieved a bronze certification in the program, and we feel that by following their lead and pursuing the Climate Smart Community designation, our committee will now have the ability to work more efficiently and more effectively to achieve our goals in creating a green growth and enhanced environmental conservation in Chester. Bill, did you want to add to that part of it?
I'll just do my bit at the end.
Okay, so we just wanted to thank you for your consideration, and I'm not going to speak to you have one more after this, but that one is just creating the task force, so I don't have anything to add to that one. So I want to just say thank you for your time and consideration of all of these, and we have Susanna and Bill who are here. Yeah.
Absolutely. Come on up.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Yes, thank you.
Hi, I'm Bill Green. I live on 388 Bell Bell Road. Been there for 36 years. And I'd like to thank this board for taking steps to get Chester into the business of mitigating climate change. It's wonderful that you're doing that. And I'd also thank you for your thinking about joining the Climate Smart Communities program. I'm part of a group called Sustainable Warwick, and we worked with the town of Warwick to get their bronze status, which is the only one other than the county in Orange County. And it's doable. It can bring good publicity to the town. And in the long run, a Climate Smart Communities program is basically there to help the taxpayers pay less money because the town is being more efficient. And you guys, by doing this, will be taking a step towards making Chester a place that other people will want to look towards as a way to dealing with the climate. I'd also like to thank people for fulfilling campaign promises. It's something that is great to hear. And I'd also like to thank you all for looking to the future.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
I was thinking about it when you were talking up there. It was about a little under 3 years to the day that I was at your door talking about this very thing. So I know it took me a while. I guess that's because I'm a politician, but we're working on it.
Well, not all of them fulfill their promise.
Just takes them a while. Thank you, Bill. All right. So there is a motion, or I would like to motion to, yes, adopt the Town of Chester Climate Smart Communities Pledge as presented to the board. Is there a second to my motion?
I'll second it.
Is there, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Abstentions? None. Passes. So that is that. And then finally, the resolution to create the Town of Chester Climate Smart Communities Task Force and Coordinator, exactly how it was presented and what it sounds like. And just for everybody's, for transparency's sake, that this will consist of myself as a liaison, Tracy Shu, William Green, Elizabeth Barrett-Zahn, Jane Dysinger, EJ Shulvach, Helen Flavin, Susanna Devine, and Justin George. And then finally, the coordinator being Grayson Sussman Squires, who will also be serving as the interim chairman for the Conservation Advisory Council. And I just have to say for myself that I'm very excited about all this, not only because I care about the environment, but like Bill said, this can potentially save the taxpayers money and improve our efficiency with our energy usage and be good for the environment in general. So I'm very excited about all this. That being said, my motion is to create the task force and the coordinator. Is there any discussion before there's a second? Any comments, questions?
I'll second it.
Is there a second? Yes, second by Councilman Courtney. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Abstentions? Passes. Thank you all. All right, moving on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Works. And the first, and this will obviously be posted since it's a town, organization now, I guess. And it is an advisory council. So they will be able to advise the town board and planning board and the zoning board on whatever they think is pertinent to be advising these boards on. They will have public meetings, which will be posted to the website. We will let them know. We'll let everybody know ahead of time. The first meeting will be at the Sugarloaf Performing Arts Center Pavilion this Friday at 7 p.m. So that's the PAC Pavilion this Friday at 7 p.m. All are welcome to give their input and listen to the conversation. Oh, and that was the climate smart community that I read the members for, with the addition for the Conservation Advisory Council that is going to be including JJ Westerveld to that. So I just want to make sure. I'm sorry. Oh, and Martine Perrier. All right. Sorry, I didn't read that one off as well. I didn't miss anybody else, right? Okay, good. A little all over the place, guys. I apologize to JJ and Martine. All right. So the budget, we need a budget modification for the Gray Court Solar Field pilot revenue reduction. So I'm just going to read the email from Neil here. Based on the schedules I reviewed and the budget of the town was expected to receive $96,335.07 in pilot payments from 5 separate pilots. Unfortunately, due to the transition on my position, the bills were sent out late. His apologies. However, that isn't the issue. One of the pilots, Gray Court Solar, was billed $12,965.41 for a solar field pilot. These numbers are all tied into budget. Gray Court notified us yesterday that the solar field is not complete and that pilot payments do not begin until completion of the project. So it appears that the bill and the budget are in error and that the town is not eligible to receive $12,965.41. The town will need to make a budget adjustment, reducing the revenue by the amount we won't be receiving and appropriating fund balance to make up for the shortfall of revenue to appropriated expenses.
But if they do complete that in 2024, that would take effect, wouldn't it?
So he answered this in email on 3 days ago. He did ask about that very question. The taxing purposes for the project would need to be completed prior to March 1st.
Okay.
This will not be the case.
Not gonna be,
According
okay.
to the person I spoke with, the project will be completed sometime in early 2025.
Okay.
So unfortunately, we will have to do this modification. So I would like to motion to modify the budget, taking away part of the revenue of $12,965.41 and appropriating fund balance to make up for that shortfall to the appropriated expenses.
I'll
Did
second
I say
that.
that right? Very good. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
There is 2 seconds. We're going to go with Tom
I'll third it.
because you got it. We're going to go with Tom this time because Bob got it last time.
Doesn't matter.
Although, is a roll call vote, please?
Supervisor Holdridge.
Aye.
Councilmember Ardisana.
Aye.
Councilmember Becker.
Aye.
Councilmember Courtney.
Aye.
Against, abstentions, none. It passes. So thank you, Neil, for all your hard work and alerting us to that unfortunate issue. All right. All right. Authorization of Supervisor Holdridge to sign Warwick Valley Humane Society Animal Services contract. It is the same contract as always. It was sent to everybody. It is the only difference literally in the whole contract, which I think we will be reviewing because it is kind of outdated. But just for now, the only difference is $89 increase per month. I'd contribute that to inflation and just the need for driving up costs for services. So is there a motion on the floor to accept the contract with the Warwick Valley Humane Society, who we have been contracted with for animal services?
I'll make
A long time?
Since the late 90s.
Since the late 90s, which I imagine this is when the contract was written and been renewed every year since then. Is there a motion on the floor to accept the contract?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that one.
Roll call vote.
Supervisor Holdridge.
Aye.
Councilmember Ardisana.
Aye.
Councilmember Becker.
Aye.
Councilmember Courtney.
Aye.
Abstentions, against, none, passes. Thank you very much. So I will,
Sign these two.
I'm going to send those two. Okay.
I hope
You want
these
this
are-
just so you can,
I can look at it, but
for the future?
this matches pretty much every town they serve.
Okay,
So
great. So, right here?
I've seen this contract before.
Thank you, Linda. All right. Authorization of Supervisor Holdridge to sign Rotolo burglar and fire alarm agreements. It is $52 per month in total.
That's for this location.
This is for the,
Town hall.
yes, for the town hall.
Okay.
Well, balance due $216 for the town.
There's 2 bills.
Yes, 2 bills and then another $408. So all that put together, it's $52 per month. Yes. All right. Is there a motion on the floor to allow me to sign?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Can we please have a roll call vote?
Supervisor Holdridge.
Aye.
Councilmember Andisano.
Aye.
Councilmember Becker.
Aye.
Councilmember.
Aye.
Courtney.
Aye.
Thank you.
And Councilman Dysinger is absent. Vote passes. Thank you very much. Do we have that here?
Yep.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So I have some projects and ideas that, well, not me, to everybody. I have like a wish list here for our engineering service to kind of look into so we can kind of get an idea of what it will take to make these projects happen and the cost of the taxpayers. So I would like an authorization to get a project scope and estimate for the water main project at Sugarloaf Performing Arts Center. Tom, do you just want to explain to the public why we need this and why it will be beneficial?
Well, the purpose of the water line into the Performing Arts Center is to replace a antiquated system that's been in service for quite a few years. They've got some older pumps in there, older tanks. So this will give fire protection and domestic water. I'm looking into some numbers on what we can estimate the use would be there. They talked with Richard about that tonight. So we're considering this in also in the fact that we are going to be taking water from the Sugarloaf Water District. We would like to make sure we have the water to do this also, but we need to get this project started because we need preliminary engineering before the health department so that we can get this approved by them before we can start the project.
All right. I would like to motion to authorize Lincoln Tully to get the project scope and estimate for this project.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All those, I'm sorry?
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Passes. All right. Authorization for Lincoln Tully to get a project scope and estimate for sidewalks along Kings Highway in the hamlet of Sugarloaf. This has been, I think, on the wish list of many in Sugarloaf for a long time. We finally have the road to ourselves from the county. Thank you to County Executive Newhouse for giving us the road and the legislator, of course. So I'd like to kind of see how much this is going to cost and what the scope of the work will be, so we can try to maybe apply for some grants. I know Senator Skoufis is interested in helping us out with this if possible. So is there a second to my motion to get the scope and estimate for sidewalks along Kings Highway from Lincoln Tully?
I'll second it.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Will that cover both sides of the road? You're looking for sidewalk on both sides?
Yes.
Okay.
Against, abstentions, passes. All right. Project scope and estimate from Lincoln Tully for senior center and town hall handicap doors. I think it's past time that the town hall has handicap doors, but also the senior center already has handicap doors, except that they're a little wonky, they're out of place, they're a little old, and they could use a replacement. And I would like to apply for grant funding, and in order to do that, for all of these things, we need a cost and project scope. So I would like to motion to get a project scope and estimate from Lincoln Tully for town hall and senior center handicap doors. Is there a second to my motion?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those
Aye.
opposed? Abstentions? Passes.
Is there a possibility that the doors at the senior center can be repaired in any way to make them operate the way
So
they're supposed
Michelle,
to?
do you want to explain?
Right now, to get the handicap doors to work by push button, you have to go in there and you have to go to the push bar and take an Allen wrench and key wrench to turn it so that when they push the button, it will open automatically.
Yeah.
So if you didn't hear from our senior center director, we need an Allen wrench as a skeleton key for handicap use. I'm going to say no to that.
Well,
But I think what Tom is saying is, I mean, it's, to me, if a door is
If
broke,
we
you
can
call,
try to-
you call the
I-
repair company to come, that we
Yeah,
have,
but it's more than that. It's that
but have we done that where, you know, we're gonna have an engineer, it might cost us more money to do that, to tell us we need to just replace. the door.
we can have them look at it and see if there's any sort of replacement component that could
Yeah, that's
be
what I'm
better
saying.
than
Tom,
replacing
I
the
think that's
door.
what you were saying, I didn't want to jump in, but.
Yeah.
It's also like a twofold thing, also looking for a keypad lock, so if our chess club goes in, or if our quilters go in, or somebody, each time they go in, I can reprogram them with a new push code, push pin code for access to go in.
I think that's a positive thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can include this in the email. We'll send it, Michelle and I will send out an email to Lincoln Tully, John Queenan, about all these different possibilities, what we'd like to see and how much it would cost for maybe a replacement of that one component, replacement of the full door, including this.
It might be less
Because
money.
Yes, it could be less money.
The Allen wrench may be part of the mechanism for locking the door and stuff. So they're all going to have some type of mechanism so you can lock them, which prevents the push button from working. So are they all going to be the same thing? Or are we just going to replace a door to still have the same operation?
We've already had it where the door couldn't lock.
Yep.
Because the screw inside the push bar was stripped,
Okay.
so the door already had to come out and put a new
So,
screw in.
well, maybe we got to look, and when we're looking at doors, and we really got to look at a simpler use of the locking device then, rather than an Allen key, I guess, see what's available.
Yeah.
The Allen key actually keeps the bar in.
Yeah.
You push the bar in. and
You
that
lock
puts
it,
the bar
yeah.
in the position.
So
There needs to be a better
are all doors designed the same way, or?
That's pretty common.
Yeah.
But you need to have somebody look at it.
Well, if we can get grant funding to get some sort of replacement or upgrade or something, I would just like the seniors over there to have easy access.
Absolutely.
So we're going to get a project scope and estimate for all these different things.
I just don't want to replace it with the same thing and
Yeah.
have the same problem.
Absolutely. That's the goal. Authorization of Lincoln Tully to get project scope and estimate for curbs for the Surrey Meadows development. I know that's been a hot button issue for many. If our tax receiver was here, he would be at the podium yelling about it right now.
Your councilman could tell you the same.
Yes.
Now, are you looking to do the entire development, or are you trying to do
The
sections?
parts where there are no curbs currently.
Okay.
Yeah, they've done Park Drive, I think, First Court, all the way down through Arthur Road. It's
Yeah.
like the top half of Surrey,
Yeah.
Trotting, I think Vivian was done. It's kind of weird how they did it, but.
Curbs are expensive, and getting a scope and estimate for this will hopefully again allow us to apply for grant funding, or like the rest of these things, which I haven't, capital projects and long-term investments that the town can do if we don't get grant funding. A lot of these replacements and upgrades are needs, not wants. So we need a plan for the future. And
Will they break that up in pieces per street also? So you could, if the costs are higher, we don't get enough
Right,
grant.
we can try to
pick and
prioritize.
choose which
Yeah.
areas are,
absolutely,
okay.
yeah. We
Just so it's not just one generic number, we need it broke up so we can,
We can draft an email to make sure that is all.
Yeah, the priority.
all
places.
that information is there for him to
The
take
sad, the sad part about it, my understanding was there was a grant given years ago. We just never utilized the whole thing, and we wound up giving it back.
yeah, that's not good.
Just to be clear, you're not asking John Queenan to put together a bid package. You're just asking for preliminary scope of work
Yes,
and rough
an
estimates.
estimate. Yeah,
To give you an idea if you want to go forward with a bid package.
absolutely.
Okay.
That's
I
exactly.
just want to be clear,
Yep.
because one involves significantly more engineering.
No. All right. Is there a second to my motion to get the project scope and estimate for curbs
I'll second.
where needed? That's why I have that in there. Where needed. Very important words. In Surrey Meadows.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Abstentions? Passes. Great. I failed to take public comment during that whole time. Is there any comments on any of that?
I have a bunch of public comment.
Oh, gosh. I'm
Um,
so sorry. Go on.
I just was waiting. Cindy Smith, who's going to the Association of Towns Convention? Cindy Smith, what office is the new clerk working?
Councilman Courtney, Town Clerk Linda Zapala, and I will be going to the Association Towns Convention. What was the second question?
What office is the new clerk working?
The Town Clerk's office.
And also from Cindy, Nick Zagnoli has a detailed plan for Sugarloaf sidewalks.
Nick Zagnoli.
Zamboli?
Zingoli, Nick.
Zamboli.
Just kidding. So what? I'm sorry. Can you repeat that last part?
Nick
Yeah.
has a detailed plan for Sugarloaf sidewalks.
Yes, I'm aware of that, and he's the person that we are working with on this.
And that's all I have.
All right, great. Is there anything else from the public here about any of that thing, any of those things? Nope. Okay. All right. Reduce Sugarloaf Performing Arts Center Pavilion fee for the Miller service, reducing price for a Chester resident who unfortunately experienced a loss in the family last week or 2 weeks ago. Last week, I think.
Last week.
We spoke about it as a board. We are still, of course, getting a comprehensive review done about the fee schedule for this and trying to modernize it in lieu of not having enough time to really do that still, and having many different priorities to figure out. We decided to reduce the fee for this, and we will do this for this certain type of events moving forward for Chester residents until we get a comprehensive review and then reform voted on. So we will be reducing the Miller family's fee for their service here by $450. Right now, it is a $750 rental fee for 4 hours and then a $200 cleaning fee. We will be bringing it down, the total cost down to $500 for the rental fee and getting rid of the cleaning fee. So our own staff will be cleaning and all that. So that is what I would like to do, and that is what we discussed as a board. Is there any further discussion or questions about that?
No.
No. I would like to motion to reduce the fee to $500 for the Miller family. And again, I just want to make this very crystal clear for events similar to this one. For any Chester resident, we will be doing the same if you come to us with a similar event until we get a review and reform in place for our fee schedule. So we are not singling them out. We are not giving anybody preferential treatment. This is a Chester resident. Their taxpayers pay for this. So we will be doing the same for any other Chester resident that has a similar event. So my motion stands on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Are there any, roll call vote,
You don't
please.
have to roll call vote. You can just step down.
Right, I'd like to do a roll
Okay.
call vote. So roll call vote, please.
Okay. Supervisor Holdred.
Aye.
Councilmember Artisana.
Aye.
Councilmember Becker.
Aye.
Councilmember Courtney.
Aye.
And Councilman Dysinger is absent. It passes. Purchase of the Ford 350 XLT for Highway Department. It was $71,000, $331.38. Was budgeted for in the 2024 budget. Is there any discussion or questions on that?
This is state bid.
Let me pull up the.
I believe it is.
Usually trucks are.
Money was allocated in 2024 budget for 2 vehicles. Please see attached a mini bid that was sent to 24 vendors through the New York State
Yep.
Office of General Services.
That answers the
Yes. So, is there a motion on the floor to accept this purchase?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Holdred.
Aye.
Councilmember Artisana.
Aye.
Councilmember Becker.
Aye.
Councilmember Courtney.
Aye.
Councilmember Dysinger, absent.
And it passes. Thank you all.
Yeah, this truck will be utilized for plowing and possibly salting in the future also.
Mhm.
Be multitask truck.
Right. Yeah, and just for the public's information. Only one vendor responded with a price for this vehicle that was specified. The price is fair and reasonable. At this time, they are requesting a motion to allow the highway department to move forward with the purchase.
It's under state
Um,
bid.
And the truck will arrive within 90 to 180 days. So they can go ahead and order it. All right, nearing the end here. Request for temporary public assemble permits from Richard Oglethetis. Richard, if you'd like to step up real quick. Sugarloaf Crossing concerts from July 4th to, where is that?
Well, the rain
September
date's
5th.
September, yeah, there's a rain date.
All right, Richard, do you want to explain?
Well, it's the same thing we've been doing for 20 years. This will be our 20th year. We started out in front of the theater, but when I turned the theater over to our board of directors, that's another story, we decided to move it to where it presently is. And it's been successful, and we'd like to continue it for another year, exactly the way we've been doing it. So that's really it is.
I'm sorry. Right, and just for the public, where is it presently?
We called Sugarloaf Crossing, which originally was the railroad's determination of what that spot was. It's by the railroad crossing in Sugarloaf, and it's behind the post office.
Right.
There's a whole big area back there.
Is there any comments or questions from the town board or the any commentary from the police chief in this matter? Anything?
Looking forward to the shows.
Well, for me, it's another day at the office. Yeah, I hope you're looking.
Well, we're still looking forward to it. It's a good night out.
Yeah, it's a night out, yeah.
Anything from the police on this matter? Okay. Is there anything from the public on this matter? Anything online?
Nothing.
No. All right. Anything else? No.
Subject to insurance.
Subject to insurance. What?
Subject to insurance.
Great. All right. Were you about to say something?
No, keep going.
Okay. Is roll call vote, please?
Didn't make a motion yet.
Yes, there needs to be a motion to accept the request or approve the request for temporary public assembly permit.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Holdred.
Aye.
Councilmember Artisana.
Aye.
Councilmember Becker.
Aye.
Councilmember Courtney.
Aye.
Just subject to insurance.
Yes, sorry, subject to insurance receipt. Councilman Dysinger is not here. It passes. Great. Looking forward to it, Richard. Resolution to change billboard advertisement approval procedure. The town board will regain the authority to decide what goes on the billboard. This was changed 2 years ago or last year. The town board would like to regain the authority to approve anything that goes on the billboard before it goes on the billboard. Is there any comments or questions from the town board or the public at this time about this? No? Tony?
No.
Anything in the public?
No.
Anything else? No? All right. Is there a motion on the floor?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Holdred.
Aye.
Councilmember Artisana.
Aye.
Councilmember Becker.
Aye.
Councilmember Courtney.
Aye.
Councilmember Dysinger is absent.
Yeah, this just brings the responsibility back to the town board. We are responsible for everything that goes on that billboard. So I think we should be, voted. We should vote on anything that does go on that billboard. Thank you.
Very good. All right. Education requests.
No.
All right. Is there a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of personnel?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are heading into executive session.
Question, Brandon, am I being purposely ignored?
There you go.
Oh, yes, I accidentally had that on there. It was purposely ignored. Sorry, I should have, I crossed it out, so my eyes glazed over it. We will have a more, what's it called, a comprehensive presentation on that, and it'll be posted publicly for everybody to look at, all the code enforcement stuff that we would like to start.
Still in the works.
So
Yes,
you want to table that?
yes, we'll do that after. We'll do that, yeah. Got it.
15 minutes, sir.
That was 6 minutes.
I said to him he's on supervisor time.
All right. Is there a motion to come out of executive session?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Do we need to vote on that? I always forget.
Up, down.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against, opposed, abstentions, none, passes. We are out of executive session. Just to clarify, the Miller service that I was speaking about is a repass service, not a funeral service. Moving on, there are two things that we need to take care of in new business. I need authorization to sign the MS4 form that I received from the engineering service today. It's just a administrative thing that happens yearly, I believe, correct?
Yep.
Yes. So is there a motion to give me authorization to sign the form?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, abstentions, passes. Wonderful. Thank you, Linda. And then the other thing, from the water department, there was a request from the water department for a laptop. Water department would like to purchase a laptop for our IT department, from our IT department in New Windsor. This will be used in the field for county reports and other online work needed in the field. The price was $620. We would like approval for purchase. Tom, you thought that this wasn't the worst idea in the world?
No, it's good. It'll put their, they can do the reports while they're in the plant, and
I'm good.
not a bad idea. And they won't need a service or anything with that. It's just going to be, they're just going to use an Excel sheet on the computer to download all their data.
And this is well under procurement policy, I'm guessing, $620?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go buy the laptop.
Okay, great. Is there any questions or comments from the rest of the board or public?
I have one when you're done with that.
Okay, all those in favor of approving, I'm
So
sorry?
make the motion.
Make a motion.
I'm sorry, yes. Is there a motion to approve the purchase for $620 for the water department for a laptop?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against, abstentions, none, passes.
Do we need a motion on the control panel?
Yes, that was the last thing of
Oh,
the
okay,
night.
sorry about that.
Yes. So the water department is also asking about a control panel. The water department is asking for approval to move forward with the process for a budgeted item for 2024. The control panel on Lakeville Farms water plant, it's to upgrade the old system that's there now. For the cost of the panel is $18,307. There will be a later cost around $5,000 to install. The same panel is the one that we installed last year from Surrey Meadows. This is a sole source item, and we would like to make sure all plants are the same from now on as well. From our comptroller, there's no state or county contract. Below is a rationale for using the Reiner pump system. The water department sole source purchase of the new control panel for Lake Hill Farms from Reiner Pump Systems. It's a sole source since it's the only company that offers the same programming from USE MCO as the H2 Pro controller has. Yes, we have in another pump station, so we can keep all systems the same. It's also the same control panel and internal components as the other control panel, so all the parts and services are the same. Are we good to approve this, Liz?
Yeah, yes, that was
That was
after,
the proper.
after, that was through consultation with me, so
Yes.
that's fine.
Very good. All right. Is there any comments, questions from the board on this purchase that was budgeted for and it is within our procurement right to do? I guess. Anything from the public? Were you saying something?
No, it's sole source.
Yes, sole source. Yeah, that's right. Is there a motion on the floor?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Abstentions? Passes. All right. Is there? Yes, Michelle. You said there was public comment.
I do.
Yep.
Cindy Smith, shouldn't the voters have some explanation about Councilman Deisinger's absence or his return?
I'm sorry. Who asked that?
Cindy Smith?
Cindy Smith. Yes. Councilman Dysinger has been out with a health issue. He finally got out of the hospital last week, I think. Last week?
The beginning of this week, I think.
Oh, beginning of this week. So he's recovering slowly but surely. We expect him, I think I said last time, we expected him to be here today or the next one after. I think we are safe to say that he will be here by the end of the month, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So it's he's had some health issues that I'm not going to go into because that's personal and none of anybody's business. But he has been having health issues and he is recovering. So that is that. Is there any other public comment at this time? Anything from the board? None?
None.
All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We are adjourned. Only 3 minutes